When I rode into Guwahati, I didn't know Northeast would test my focus and assumptions and change how I see India forever. The universe doesn't follow maps, it rewrites them. You can plan for years and still be reminded how uncertain life gets. Because out here, even one mistake can be unforgiving. And if you learn to respect the road and your surroundings, the journey gives you something rarer, a new way of seeing the world. And for me, that gift of friendship arrived as Hridoy. A friend of Sachin from motorcycling event, he opened his world to me. What I thought would be just a night's halt became a warmth of home far away from mine. This was my first lesson in the quiet, effortless hospitality of Assam. The Brahmaputra had lived in my imagination for years. Upon a casual request, Hridoy and Harjinder took me to its banks, where silence stretched endlessly. It was vast, calm, and almost unreal. Standing here on the Northeastern soil for the first time, I realized how kindness flows here naturally. In that moment, it felt certain. Once you take the first step, the universe begins to move with you. Next morning, it was time to move again. Warm farewells behind me, I rode towards Aizawl, just 465 kilometers away. It sounded easy, but distance is deceptive. Maps too often lie. What looks close can feel endless on the road. Meghalaya unfolded like a dream. Silky tarmac, rolling greens, every turn asking me to stop. I traded those moments for miles, telling myself I would slow down later. But at Umkiyang, curiosity finally won. Across those hills lay Bangladesh, an invisible line but a shift in perspective. Standing there, you would realize how big Assam is. The silent force binding the Northeast together. No matter where you ride here, Assam always finds its way back into your journey. Historically, this land was known as undivided Assam, existed as a single administrative unit under the British. And when the history intervened, present-day Nagaland carved out in 1963. Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura followed in 1972. To manage the region's immense tribal and cultural diversity, the British ruled the hill districts differently. Over the time, borders shifted, states were born, identities took shape, but the memory that shared the past still lingers on these roads. Re-entering present-day Assam near Silchar, an industrial town near the Bangladesh border, it felt like stepping into another time. Seeing it firsthand was heavy. No maps, no story, nothing had prepared me for this. Livelihood were scarce. Futures uncertain, people lived day to day. working fields, running tea stalls, surviving. Many spoke of Silchar as distant from mainland Assam. Congested roads, fragile shelters, the visible weight of migration and neglect, left to carry unresolved realities alone. As I rode on, one truth stayed with me. Travel isn't about just landscapes. It's about witnessing realities, absorbing contrasts and carrying them along after the road disappears. By the time I reached Mizoram, I was drained, physically exhausted, emotionally moved. The weight of what I would see made every kilometer harder. Sachin's words then echoed in my head. To truly understand India, we must meet its people. Some have made their lives better, and others are still waiting for their moment.
Ashwin is an anchor point. This journey, this mission grew stronger the moment he arrived. Someone who truly understands the meaning of keep going. A person I deeply trust and rely on when the road is uncertain. A ride as long as this one demands respect and preparation. His first call was a fresh new tire, and this thing literally impressed me how he has things planned for me too. He insisted that I work on things that are important for this journey to shape our thoughts, like communicating with people whom we are about to meet. And he will look after things like navigating, looking after bikes, and video work. As we moved through Aizawl, I showed him something that makes Mizoram unique. The discipline of the Mizo people. Sharing my Mizoram experience, stories of people who helped me without expecting anything, that taught me humility. Stories that made me believe that India's soul lives in smallest corner.
सचिन सर, आप इतना टाइम मिजोरम में बेस कैंप बना के बैठे हो, सर आपका एक्सपीरियंस कैसा था?
हाँ यार, कभी कभी तो मुझे भी लगता है मैं मिजोरम का अडॉप्टेड बेटा हो गया हूँ, पर ऑनेस्टली ये जगह ने मुझे बहुत कुछ बदला है। पेशेंस लेवल 200% हो गया है। यहाँ के लोग इतने डिसिप्लिन है ना, अगर ट्रैफिक में कोई हॉर्न बजा दे तो लगता है कि जैसे भूकंप आ गया है।
हाँ सर, मैं कल नोटिस किया, यहाँ लोग बहुत अलग हैं। फॉर अ गुड चेंज एक गाड़ी भी हॉर्न नहीं बजा रही थी।
एग्जैक्टली, अवर वर्किंग एनवायरनमेंट बहुत अच्छा है। सब इतने पोलाइट एंड हेल्पफुल हैं। कभी कभी तो मुझे लगता है कि मैं ऑफिस में नहीं, किसी मेडिटेशन सेंटर में। मिजोरम कल्चर ने मुझे बहुत सीरियसली शेप किया है। एक वैल्यू है यहाँ, तलंग्याना। इसका मतलब होता है सेल्फनेस, काइंडनेस, दूसरों की हेल्प करना बिना किसी एक्सपेक्टेशन के। बहुत बार लोगों ने बिना मेरी लैंग्वेज समझे मेरी मदद की है।
This is what I love most about people everywhere. Even during my time in Vietnam, almost nobody speaks English there, especially around rural parts. But I have never faced a linguistic barrier because I have always felt those people were kind enough to work it out with you.
Patience always brings you a greater reward. यहाँ के लोगों से सीखा है कि दिल बड़ा करने के लिए इनकम बड़ा होना जरूरी नहीं है। और ऐसी असली इंडियन लोगों की कहानियां में छुपा है वो इंडिया जो मीडिया कभी नहीं दिखाता। Not the ones that news outlet talks about on media shows, but the one that lives through the people. Another reason for taking this journey lies deeper, living away from most of the people I grew up with. Television once became my window back home, a way to understand what was happening where my roots were. But this time the window cracked. It lost its credibility. I learned not to trust most of what was shown on television or printed in newspaper. What once stood for truth began reflecting something else, how deeply corrupted these mediums had become. Lies were delivered without hesitation, narrative were manufactured, and in that failure, real people will suffer. Institutions that were once pillar of democracy, trusted, respected, essential, now feels paralyzed. What was meant to inform distracts. What was meant to question now entertains. At times, it feels less like journalism and more like a circus. Through this journey, I want to reconnect with people, with stories, with truth, to bring voice together, to restore accountability, to remind those in power that they are being watched. And maybe changes has to begin here, on the road, one conversation at a time. While starting from the Mizoram University, before leaving, we performed a small rituals, a movement that would officially launch our east to west motorcycle expedition. Some of my students, they came to bid a farewell as these students have graduated, and after this ride, I may not see them again on campus. They too are starting their own journeys, some looking for jobs and some heading for higher studies. Life moves and we all move with it, but it felt very personal to share the bond and inspiring each other. Cherishing that moment as my family and students stood around us, कुछ खास महसूस हो रहा था, भाव का भाव बह रहा था, जैसे रोम रोम में उतर रहा था. The flag of ceremony awaited us in Champhai. Looking at everyone, being a part of my triumph, I felt I have never been more prepared for this exact moment to experience a spiritual journey where destiny would decide who we met and what we learned, and how we understand the real India. Our first stop was Selling in the middle of the hills. And from the top, I showed Ashwin how Mizoram landscape merged with its settlement. How human life gently folded into the hills without disturbing nature. We ate local food, had tea, and interacted with the villagers. Language was a barrier, but kindness was enough. When the hearts are open, communication becomes effortless. Some local women, after hearing about our expedition, gave us cucumber and oranges as a token of love. That moment taught me something important. To have a big heart, you don't need much, just a smile and empathy. With their blessings and priceless gift of compassion, we continued towards Champhai. Every time I ride towards Champhai, it felt like the mountain whispers stories. Not the kind you read in the books, but the kind that travel through generations, standing quietly in the fields. Champhai is oldest homes of the Mizo people. Long before these roads were carved, before borders and government existed, families migrated here from the east, carrying only courage and their dreams. Some say they came from a mythical place called Chinglung, a cave of origin. We are literally riding towards the birth of legends. Once upon a time, this Champhai valley was a lake. Slowly it seated up, transformed into the rice bowl of Mizoram. And history here is not written only in the books, it stands as stones, tall ancient menhirs carved to celebrate victories in war, successful hunts, or sometimes just the memory of someone they love. The first to settle here were the Hamar, then came the Ralte. Later the Silo and the Lushai clans, powerful chiefs who moved from hill to hill, taking their people along like a moving kingdom. Imagine living in a time where your entire village moved with the season, where your chief was not just a leader, but your protector, your guide, your judge. But every peaceful land has a chapter of conflict. The Mizo chiefs were fierce warriors. They raided British territories in Assam, Tripura, and Manipur. And the most dramatic moment came in 1871 when they captured a little British girl, Mary Winchester, whom the Mizo called Zoluti. That changed everything. The British stormed these mountains in response. The biggest was the Lushai expedition of 1871. They marched up right here into Champhai to the headquarters of Chief Lalbura Silo. When the British reached, a treaty was made, and slowly these hills came under British administration. Champhai even became a fort. The British tried to control movement using something called the inner line. A line invisible to the eye, but more powerful enough to decide who could enter these lands. It protects the Mizo people from exploitation, while also tying them to the British rule. Yet despite war, despite colonial politics, despite isolation, the people here protected something precious: their culture, their simplicity, their discipline, the way they support each other. And today, you and I ride through the same mountain where warriors once marched, where chiefs once ruled, where stories were carved into these stones. We are not just documenting our journey, we are documenting their spirit. Champhai is not just the starting point of our expedition, it's a reminder that India's strength lies in its diversity, in its story, in its heroes who we are going to meet on this ride. When we reach Champhai, remember we are not just entering a town, we are entering history. वर्षों से मुख्य धारा की मीडिया ने आदिवासी समुदाय को या तो संघर्ष और गरीबी और पिछड़ेपन के प्रतीक के रूप में दिखाया है या फिर उन्हें पूरी तरह नजरअंदाज किया है। उनकी समझ, उनकी प्रकृति के प्रति जिम्मेदारी, उनका आत्मसम्मान और उनकी सांस्कृतिक समृद्धि शायद ही कभी सामने आती है। असम के दक्षिण हिस्सों में यह झूठा नैरेटिव और भी ज़्यादा खतरनाक हो जाता है, जहां गरीबी का अक्सर आदिवासी समाज की असफलता के रूप में प्रस्तुत किया जाता है, जबकि सच्चाई यह है कि गरीबी वर्षों की अपेक्षा हाशिए पर धकेले जाने और योजनाओं से बाहर रखे जाने का परिणाम है। जब सामाजिक आर्थिक आंकड़े इकट्ठे करना बंद कर दिया जाता है, जब लोगों की आवाज़ दर्ज नहीं होती है और उनके इतिहास को भुला दिया जाता है, तब गरीबी पैदा की जाती है और बाद में उसी गरीबी का दोष उन समुदाय पर डाल दिया जाता है। यह अन्याय सिर्फ आर्थिक नहीं बल्कि वैचारिक भी है। अब ज़रूरत है जिम्मेदार पत्रकारिता और तथ्य आधारित विकास की। मीडिया को सनसनीखेज खबरों से बाहर निकलकर जमीन पर रह रहे लोगों की बात सुननी होगी। सरकारों को फिर से पारदर्शी सामाजिक आर्थिक सर्वे शुरू करने होंगे ताकि यह समझा जा सके कि कौन पीछे छूट रहा है और क्यों। शिक्षा संस्थानों, शोधकर्ताओं और नागरिकों को एक तरफा कहानियों की चुनौती देनी होगी और आदिवासी समाज की अपनी बात खुद कहने का मंच भी देना होगा। सबसे जरूरी बात यह समझना है कि दक्षिण असम की गरीबी आदिवासी पहचान की वजह से नहीं बल्कि आदिवासियों को हाशिए पर रखने की वजह से हुई है। आज हमारा आह्वान साफ है, आदिवासी समुदाय के बारे में बोलना बंद कीजिए, उनके साथ मिलकर काम करना शुरू कीजिए। उनके क्षेत्रों को दोहन विकास के नाम पर नहीं बल्कि संरक्षण के न्याय के नाम पर किया जाना चाहिए और उनकी कहानियों को दबाना बंद करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जब तक उनकी आवाज़ सुनी नहीं जाएगी तब तक आज़ादी अधूरी है और विकास भी अधूरा रहेगा। अभी अगर मैं बात करूं एंजल चकमा की, जो एक नॉर्थ ईस्ट का छात्र था जो यहाँ पढ़ने देहरादून आया हुआ था उत्तराखंड में, उसकी हत्या जो सामाजिक भेदभाव के कारण हुई वो नहीं होनी चाहिए थी और इससे जो हमारे आपस के बीच का जो दायरा है वो बढ़ता जा रहा है। हमें उसे कम करने की ज़रूरत है, उसके लिए हम सबको इकट्ठा होने की ज़रूरत है और मैं और हमारी टीम जो भी हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं इस डॉक्यूमेंट्री के लिए, हम और हमारा पूरी फैमिली उस एंजल चकमा की फैमिली के लिए खड़ी है और हम उन लोगों के साथ हैं और हम उन लोगों के साथ हैं जो लोग आज भी भेदभाव झेल रहे हैं, चाहे वो नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लोग यहाँ पे हों, चाहे हमारे यहाँ के लोग महाराष्ट्र में हों, चाहे कोई भी आदमी अपने क्षेत्र के अलावा दूसरे क्षेत्र में अगर काम कर रहा है तो उसको भेदभाव की नज़र से नहीं देखा जाना चाहिए। हम सब भारतीय हैं, हम सब एक हैं।